It's week 17, and this week we're going to be practicing being more mindful and present. One of the effects of pregnancy is kind of been being a little bit spacey and maybe a little bit forgetful. So we're going to practice our yoga asana or yoga postures today, but really be aware of our bodies and how we're feeling in that moment and in that space. So one of the great things about mindfulness is you don't need a set of postures to really get at that goal. You can practice mindfulness when you're walking, you can practice mindfulness during your meditation, you can practice mindfulness while you're washing the dishes. It's all about just being where you are at that moment and letting go of everything else. So, come on to a seated position. If you don't already have your tools, make sure you've got a block handy and then also your timer for your ending meditation. Sitting in a cross-legged position, place your hands down on your knees, roll your shoulders back, lift your sternum. Find that your shoulders are stacked over your hips, and you have a nice, tall, long column from your hips all the way up to your shoulders. Release the sit bones into the ground. Feel your thighs roll out and your legs release. Close your eyes and start to come into the moment, letting go of any to-do lists that you've been carrying around. Any worries. Just think about your breath. As thoughts pop up, acknowledge them and know that those will happen. We are human, so whatever pops into your mind, just see it, let it go, and come back to the moment. A great tool here is to practice grounding. So really focusing what it feels like in this posture to have your shins cross one another, to have your calves touch, to have your sit bones firmly seated and rooted into the mat, to have your hands touch your legs, touch your knees. How are all of these sensations? Take a few more breaths here, really getting into the moment, feeling your body connect with the breath. Maybe start to deepen your breath a little bit more, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. On each inhale, feeling your rib cage expand. On each exhale, feeling yourself relax. Really cultivating a deep, good quality breath throughout your practice today. And practicing this for the next few months so that when it comes time for labor, you have this handy breath at your disposal. Let your eyes open and move on to all fours. Stacking your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. On an inhale, gently look forward, belly drops down. Hips start to rise toward the ceiling. Exhale, round your back, chin comes in toward your chest. Inhale. Look forward, starting to get a little bit of spinal movement, connecting with the breath. Exhale. Look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the belly out. Look gently forward. Exhale, push into the mat with your hands. Round your spine. One more each time. Inhale, look forward. And exhale, cat pose. Come to all fours on a neutral spine. And this time we're going to take your right foot all the way forward. Left foot's going to stay right where it is. If you don't have your block nearby, go ahead and grab for it. Place it at the top of the mat. So when you're here, making sure that the knee is stacked over the front ankle, we're going to gently sink our hips down. And you can either hold here or come place your hands on your knee. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. Sinking the pelvis down while maintaining good alignment for our front knee. Feeling nice and tall, stretching the belly. Feeling the connection in your back foot, the top of your back foot with the mat, your knee on the mat, the ball of your front foot and the heel of your front foot, both rooting down. Rising tall through your torso and reaching up through your fingertips, but still releasing your neck, your trapezius muscle. Release the hands down to the ground, and you're going to take your right foot and walk it toward the long edge of your mat. So just walk it out to the side a little more. Take both hands to the inside of your foot and sink your hips one more time. And this time you can stay on your hands or start to crawl down to your elbows. If your elbows are too far, use your block and stack your elbows on your block. Your right hip's going to splay out to the side a little bit. That's okay. We're really working on stretching in through here. Hold here with your breath. Come up onto your hands. Remove the block if you have it there. Firmly plant your hands on the mat and come back to all fours. This time we're going to take your left foot forward. Again, being mindful, how does your front foot feel grounding into the mat? Is your knee stacked over your ankle? Sink your hips down, find your position, reach up to the sky if that's available to you, and sink your hips down. Connecting with your breath, feeling how it is to be here. How do your hips feel stretching? How is your hamstring? How do your feet feel touching the mat? Can you be fully present in this moment? And inhale. On your exhale, take your hands to the mat. Gently walk your left foot, heel toe it over to the long side of your mat. Find your position. Stay up on your hands with your torso nice and tall. We don't want to crunch in because that's just going to squash baby. So rise through your sternum, lift your heart. Hold out here on your hands or down to your elbows or using the block. Whatever position works best for you. And while you're here and you're experiencing more of a stretch, think about the breath. Can you breathe into the parts of your body that are stretching? Can you be in this moment without distracting yourself and thinking about what's to come next? Can you be fully committed and present to right now? And inhale, come on up. Remove the block. Plant your hands firmly on the mat. Come back to all fours. This time you're going to take your right foot forward again. And take your block next to your right foot. So make it nice and tall. Take your left hand to your hip. Sit up tall. And then your left hand's going to reach up and over to the side as you plant your right hand on the block, using it as a little support, feeling your side body open. Reaching to the opposite wall, stretching out through your rib cage, creating space from your hip to your rib cage. Take your left hand back up. Left hand comes down to your hip. You can move the block. And you're going to take your right foot directly out to the side. Plant your foot flat on the floor. It'll be off your mat. Keep your right hand on your hip. And this time reach that left arm up and over one more time. It's going to be a little more intense of a stretch. We're going to feel it in this right hamstring. And reach to the side. Be present in the moment. Connect with your breathing. And notice how it feels to be in this pose. Come up tall. Take both hands back down to the mat and your knees underneath your hips. Same thing, other side. This time your left foot comes forward. Your block's going to rest by your left hip. Right hand on your hip. Find a nice steady position. Root down and find a foundation. Right arm reaches up and then gently lean over using the block as support. Starting to play with your limitations here. Find the place where you feel the stretch, but not a place where it feels painful. A few more breaths, feeling steady and growing tall, feeling the space created in the abdomen. And then come all the way up. Right hand comes to hip. You can remove the block. Walk your left foot all the way out so that it's nice and flat on the floor. Right arm is going to reach up and overhead. Same motion that we were just doing, but this time a little deeper. Breathing here, your gaze can either go toward your left foot or up and under your right arm, looking up at the ceiling. Whatever feels best for you. Inhale, come on up. Work yourself back to all fours. You're going to tuck your toes and then gently lift your hips. Come to find downward facing dog. If you have tight hamstrings, just keep your knees bent. We're not going to be here for too long. Find a nice firm rooting through your hands. Feeling the sensation of this little mini inversion, how it feels to have the blood go toward your head. And then walk your hands nice and easy back to your feet. Keeping your knees bent and your feet hips distance apart. Grab your elbows, let yourself hang. Release everything down. Release your neck, let your head dangle. Hold here and just surrender. Hands release to the mat. And then nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, roll all the way up to stand. Head being the last thing to come up. We're going to work on tree pose. Balance poses are great for mindfulness because they're hard and it takes a lot of concentration. So we're going to stand on our right foot, nice and firm. You can take your left foot and you're going to rotate through the top of your leg where your hip is, and you're going to open up to the side. You can stay here on the ball of your left foot, take your left ankle to your shin, or you can take your whole left foot to your shin, or if you're feeling balanced and comfortable today, you can take your left foot all the way up to your inner thigh. Root down through your right foot, pull this right hip in, lift up tall, feel your sternum, your heart center rise, and then place your hands in namaste at heart center. As you're rooting down through your foot, you're also growing up nice and tall through the top of your head. So if somebody was pulling a string from the top of your head, you'd be nice and straight, all the way from that base to the very tip top of your head. Pull the right hip in, finding the nice foundation, engage your quadricep by lifting your kneecaps, and then find the space, the 4 pillars of your torso that we were working on when we were sitting. And then focus on your breath. This is challenging enough for you, stay here, or reach the arms up and overhead, creating a Y shape with your arms, and growing your branches up toward the ceiling. Release your shoulder blades down, and focus on your breathing. A few more breaths here. Feeling how it is in the moment. If you wobble and step out, that's okay. Just come right back to where you were. Feeling your muscles engage, maybe starting to fatigue. And place your palms together, down to heart center. And gently release your legs and release your arms. Nice job. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So rooting firmly through the left foot. Find the position. Do you want to do a kickstand? Do you want to do shin or take it all the way up to your thigh? The choice is yours. It doesn't matter how high you get. It doesn't make you a better or worse yogi. It just means that that's how today is for you. So firmly root down through the 4 corners of your feet. Feel the ball of your left foot and the back 2 points of your heel really stick to the ground. And lift the arches of your feet. Activate your feet. Feel that your hips are firmly stacked. Your quad is engaged. Your kneecap is lifted. This left hip pulls into the center. And your hip points are hopefully working towards even. Stacking your shoulders over your pelvis. Having the 4 the two pillars of your torso, really tall and long. Hands at prayer, heart center. Roll the shoulders back so your torso is not collapsing. Find your balance, using the breath to help aid in balance. You start to feel comfortable here, finding one point to gaze at, something that's not moving preferably, and then take your arms up, reach the branches toward the ceiling, growing tall. So rooting down through your left foot, finding that firm foundation, but then growing and feeling energy extend all the way through your body to your fingertips. Holding here, connecting with the breath, realizing the body's sensations. No matter what's going on through your head, you always have your body to check in with. So it's so great about yoga. It's a mind-body connection. Couple more breaths. Palms come together, and on an exhale, palms draw down to heart center. Release your foot and release your hands. Stand firmly on both feet now, same foundation that we used for tree pose. Roll your shoulders open, palms face forward. Close your eyes and just breathe for a few moments. Knowing that you worked hard in your balance pose today. That if this was the first time you were trying it, it's going to be different than the next time you try it. And each time you'll progress and really have a new and individualized experience. But for now, settling the heart. Settling the mind, finding the breath. Flutter the eyes open, and we're going to step wider than hip distance. With the toes turned out, you're going to make sure you have your block handy in case you need it. You're going to take your hands to your hips, and then you're going to gently squat all the way down and come to a low squat. I like to take my elbows to my thighs, that way I know I have a little bit of support. If this feels really unsteady for you, feel free to take the block, and on whatever setting you need, set it up, and then place it underneath your bum. You're going to hold here, and breathe gently. Really engaging the muscles of your pelvis, your lower pelvis, feeling everything draw up and support you. Maybe challenging yourself if you have the block there, maybe seeing if you can't take it away and feel what it is to have all those lower muscles in your body start to engage. Really root down through the feet here. Same thing that we are doing in our standing pose, but balancing it a little different. Feeling the hips open up, something that we definitely want with pregnancy. And yet the lower body engaged, something that we want. We want that pelvic floor to be strong so that not only can we help with labor, but so that we can keep everything intact after labor as well. One more breath. Place your hands on the mat. Gently take your hips up and then walk your feet together. Heel toe all the way. Release your head down to the floor. Shake out any tension in your neck. And then step back, 1 foot at a time, to downward facing dog. Push the hips up toward the ceiling. Press the palms into the floor. Gently release the knees down to the mat. Take the big toes together, knees far apart. Hands are going to stay outstretched, and then sit back into extended child's pose. Focusing on the breath, how the body feels after working hard. Thinking about baby, this wonderful tool for mindfulness now. Even if you're at the point where baby's not yet kicking, just know that soon baby will be there. And you'll be able to use that as another tool to bring your mind to the present moment. Come to a seated position. You're going to take your feet together. Knees bent, feet together. Really grab your shins, and from deep within the hip socket again, open up the hips. Sit up tall. And then you're going to open your feet up as if you were reading a great novel. Sit up tall, roll your shoulders back. And as you maintain the long spine that you've just created, growing from the hips all the way to the shoulders, start to hinge forward at the hip. And as you hinge forward, use your elbows to take your thighs, your shins down to the mat. You have Baddha Konasana, or bound angled pose. Looks a lot like butterfly from back in elementary school. So keeping the heart extending forward, really growing forward, feeling the energy extend forward instead of slouching over. You can play with it yourself. Slouch over and see how that feels. You don't really get much stretch. But then if you grow your heart forward and really hinge at the hips, it feels a lot different, and it's going to start to open your hips better and really lengthen and create space. Check in with the breath. How are you feeling? And on an inhale, come all the way up. Grab the sides of your knees, bring them together, and then come to cross-legged position, the same position that we started with. If your timer or phone, whatever you're using is handy, go ahead and set it for however long you have, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you have afforded yourself today. And we're going to take our last few moments of meditation. Today we're going to do a sitting meditation because it's easier to really stay present and in the moment. So root down through your sit bones. Feel the cross of your shins. Rest your hands either face up or face down on your thighs. Roll the shoulders back. Grow your chest tall. And find an ease in this position. Close your eyes and let go of any deep ujjayi breathing and just have a normal breath, relaxing, calming breath. And as you sit here in meditation today, connect with how you feel now, the effects of your practice on your body, on your mind. And know that you can use these tools, checking in with your body, your breath, grounding, all the time. There's no limitation. It doesn't just have to be on the yoga mat. You can practice these mindfulness techniques anywhere. Know that it's not going to be a losing battle as you're being a little bit forgetful. It's a normal process, but these are things that we can do in order to help prevent being completely unaware of our lives. Please take the time to have a few moments of quiet meditation. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. And until next time, yogis, namaste.